Hey everyone, Randy Joe here, and this is 1001 Reviews, where I plan on reviewing every single album from the 1001 Albums to Listen to Before You Die book. And today we are looking at Elastica's 1995 album, Elastica. Elastica released their self-titled debut album under the Deceptive label, produced by Elastica themselves and Mark Waterman. Art direction anonymous, nationality UK, with a running time of 37 minutes and 59 seconds. I had to rewrite the review for this a few times because unfortunately there really isn't a whole lot to even say about this album at all, actually, as most of this feels pretty dated and bland to the time that it came out at, and even when it released would feel kind of dated to what was already being released around that time. At nearly 40 minutes long with 16 tracks, this ends up feeling like a random sludge of early 90s genres kind of blent into one. But not even the best aspects of it, it's sort of just your rather typical Britpop grunge mix. Justine Frischmann ends up giving these rather bland and one-note vocals as well to the mix, and don't offer anything unique either to really distract you from the fact that this is still a very generic listen. Even with the big hit song connection, the best thing here is the guitar work, as it is often riffy and kind of mixes in a bit of a synth effect to really make the song pop a bit more. And the riff here is somewhat engaging to the ear and will pull you in, but sadly the drumming and the vocals are nothing special or unique and end up really just taking away from anything this track had as a redeemable factor. And the thing is, that being the hit song, you would think that would be the best song on here, but it really kind of just falls into the mix with the rest of the tracks, because if I were to talk about every single track on this album, that's all I would end up saying is pretty much the same thing over and over and over again, because that's what this track list is. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. There is nothing special or interesting about any of these songs. They even follow everything down to the same structure. The structure of every track really being as rudimentary simple as possibly can be, with these stripped back, simpler vocals during the verses and then the chorus being a bit louder and more explosive in a way. But that is pretty much reminiscent of most music in general, to be honest, and definitely something that the grunge community was doing to the extremes. The thing is, when other artists did it at the time, they at least had a bit more interesting aspects to them, or the vocals were something to be taken note of. There was at least personality. With this, there is no personality, there is no strength or range in the vocals, there is barely anything of note. In fact, most of this, listen to me, was rather tiring. Even for 40 minutes, at only 40 minutes, I felt kind of exhausted by the end because I kind of just had to go through one ear and out the other, and I was kind of waiting for it just to end. The only truly interesting song over the 16 tracks that are presented here is the song Indian Song, because it uses a Indian aesthetic as well as Indian instrumentation to sort of give off a much more unique personality. In fact, this song uses a psychedelic hypnotic effect that is somewhat reminiscent of the Beatles' Indian era as well. But even still, this song isn't interesting enough to really bring this album to the limelight. In fact, I would only give this song a 7 at most. So this song being the best at a 7 doesn't bode well for the whole album. And the thing is, this album does something that even most bad albums don't do. See, because with a bad album, it could be so bad that there is at least some memorable moments to it, and you could think, oh, this was truly awful, but it'll always stick in my head to some degree. But with this, it's not really bad, it's just forgettable. And when something is forgettable, I think it is in many ways worse than a bad album, because, I mean, at least with a bad album, some of it is sticking. But none of this really sticks. Pretty much none of it is going to remain with me. Even after multiple listens, none of these feel like an earworm in any way. So really, I feel like it is pretty much fair to call this album what it is, a forgettable, messy, uninteresting album that I don't really understand the purpose of in the book at all. So with that being said, the soft rating of this album came to a 4.5, but I will harden it down to a 4 and I will go ahead and say not essential. Definitely not essential. Even with repeated listens, I feel like this just got worse and worse. So that pretty much does it for this review. Sorry it's so short, but I really can't add too much to this. Let's go ahead and see what the next album we're going to listen to is. Okay, random number generator, 1 to 1001. Generate. 321 is the next album. 321 being Gene Clark's No Other. So go ahead and give Gene Clark's No Other a listen. I will review that in exactly 1 week from now. And this Friday we have Bob Dylan's The Freewheelin' Bob Dylan. So go ahead and give that a listen as well. That pretty much does it for this video. Sorry again for it being so short. But again, I really can't make things up with this album, unfortunately. That isn't what I'm here to do. I'm here to give an honest opinion, and honestly, there's nothing here. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe if you want to follow along and listen to every single album from the 1001 Albums to Listen to Before You Die book. And that pretty much does it for this video. Thank you for watching. My name is Randy Joe, signing off.